What's up, everybody? Welcome to Waypoint's Media Club, the place where we'll discuss everything from TV shows, movies, video games, but never a book. Today we're discussing Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 3, The Power Broker. Above me, we've got Albob875.
Hello.
Diagonally for me, other way, we've got Brett Jamerson, aka Jim Tasty.
You know who I am?
And then next to me, we've got my other half of the Overgamers, LeighErin Jazz.
Hi.
All right, guys, what do we think about today's episode?
I
feel I'm gonna be the odd one out here. I feel both vindicated and disappointed.
Really? I personally think this is the best one so far. I don't know why. Like, I really liked it.
The story is phenomenal. The writing is cringy.
Like, dialogue or like...
The exposition is incredibly clunky. Was my main issue. They tried to deliver a lot of exposition and just kind of didn't know how to do it. And so it just kind of came in these dumps that I didn't like.
Well,
And it felt like I was being exposed to.
Well, part of it is because I just learned this a little bit ago before we started recording, is that it was the writers of John Wick that wrote this episode.
Okay.
Okay, because John Wick definitely has like exposition, kind of like heavy segments.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
There were a few lines that, and this is like the only way I can like connect this, because I remember as a kid, like I'd be reading like the third Harry Potter book, for example, and they would make a quick reference to something that happened in the first, but then two more sentences explaining that for in case you just picked up the third one by itself. And so I kind of felt like they were doing that, like they were explaining parts of Civil War a little bit too much. Or it's like, we've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it, but there were just big chunks that I was like, why is this how you wrote it? And why is that character the one saying it? With some very specific examples as we get further into the episode.
I think I generally liked it. Hearing from LeighErin, I definitely agree with that. But at the same time, I think the visuals were fantastic this episode, especially with Madripoor. And if you guys watched Kong versus Godzilla, they kind of did the same thing with that in that movie. But the whole cyberpunky like kind of like vibe was awesome there. I thought the action scenes were pretty well done, especially with Sharon Carter. I really liked she was like stabbing people and throwing.
They had so many knives.
He is fucking ruthless.
Dude, when Bucky impaled that lady with the pole, dude, I was like, damn.
That was the one thing. I literally spoke loud and I just went, Jesus Christ.
I was just gonna say, I wish
I
wasn't watching this at 5 a.m. so I could do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I will say, the last time we saw Sharon Carter, she was an annoying plot device, and now she's like Jessica Jones 2.0, and I am so into it. I love it so much. I miss Jessica Jones every day. And like, I just love that Marvel is giving me something.
Yeah. But it was overall a pretty good episode. I think so with Zemo, like I generally largely liked him. It just felt weird in terms of like in context of like, and we'll get to it, but like I was like, man, they should be watching him way more closely than they are.
Like I don't want.
No, you know what this guy did? Like,
I don't want to actually like Zemo, but like fuck, like the performance blew me away, and part of me is like, you're pretty charming. Like,
yeah. And
he would like try to be charming, and then like he'd give you like that really awkward smile.
Yeah, and his that little dance cut was fantastic. So
3 seconds, yeah.
I love him.
I
love him so much.
Bad guys like to let loose too sometimes. All right.
Yeah.
So
listen, I hate redemption arcs, but if they do a Zemo redemption arc, I'll be like, yeah, fine, dope, awesome.
I don't think by any means it's gonna be a redemption arc. I think
neither do I.
To an anti-villain, but he's gonna backstab them.
I loved his line when I think they were in what was it, Latvia or something. When he was like, did you guys visit the Sokovia Memorial?
No, of course you didn't. Yeah.
To be fair, that's kind of bullshit because neither of them were on the Avengers team during Age of Ultron. Like, he should be mad at the original 6 and then the twins.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't sign the Sokovia Accord. They had a chance to stop what happened in Sokovia and have control over the superheroes, and they didn't.
Sokovia happened before the Sokovia Accords.
I'm aware.
Yeah, so it's like they wouldn't have prevented it. Also, Bucky was still
but they
just
could
not
have
a thing.
prevented another one. But
see
they
what-
all wouldn't sign the Sokovia Accords because of fucking Bucky.
I see what you're saying, Jordan, but at the I do think there is still some onus on them of being a part of that group or just being like
Yeah.
Associated with
okay,
them.
go back and visit it just for.
I also really liked his line when he told Bucky, it was like, it wasn't personal, you were just a means to an end.
Yeah.
Because in a way, I feel like that's almost, in some ways, worse, but, like, respect.
Yeah, that and going back to Civil War, that scene when he shows the video of the murder of Tony's parents and he just fades into the darkness, like he doesn't need to watch it. So like that totally echoes with what his character is. So
Yeah.
I like that line a lot too.
But how dope was his jacket?
Oh.
Yeah, dude.
I want it.
Man, like
I want it.
Looking fly.
Yeah.
So this isn't in this episode. It was the previously on, but it just made me think of it, and I have to say it really quick at the top. Bucky saying, I think we should steal back the shield has the same energy of I have to steal the Declaration of Independence, and I love it. I didn't realize it last week, but it's got the same vibe. I'm
They
like,
just
"All
make a
right."
national treasure, but with Bucky and
I'm in.
Sam.
I mean,
I'm in.
Yeah, I
I'd
think
be into it. Like,
so going off that, I think, and Zemo says this on the plane of like you guys like deify Steve and all that and the shield too, and it's like, okay, Bucky, yeah, you steal the shield and then what? Like you have it and you just like put it on a shelf too, like, or you use it, like, is it that important in like your your missions? Or and he's almost kind of trying to get out of that life a little bit too.
Yeah.
So it's like, what, like, you got to think a little bit farther past just getting it back,
And like, I loved that line because it's true. The two of them act like Steve is divine, was divine, whatever, and he's not. And like, he made mistakes and is just a human being. You all need to like jump off his dick. Sorry, but it really like.
I took it a little bit more as like also foreshadowing with it's like there's no way, like, even if you say, okay, you put Steve on a pedestal, no one's gonna live up to that at all. And we see that with John Walker right now, like, especially in the beginning where he goes, don't you know who I am? And I feel like that's the biggest difference, where it's like, and I'm not saying Steve's perfect, but like Steve was a respectable person in or out of the suit, and then John Walker gets the shield in the suit and thinks that he automatically should be the same way.
Right.
And it just goes back to like, if you're nothing without the suit, you don't deserve it.
Literally my first two notes were fuck you, John, and
wow.
Yes, I do, and I don't care. John, you don't have the respect. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm also starting to like warm up to Battlestar. Battlestar.
Yeah,
but
dude.
I'm still hating John Walker.
Yeah.
Dope for him that he knows German.
Yeah.
Would not have pulled that out of my brain because like it's not a hard language, but it's not Latin based the way like English, Spanish, and Italian and French are, where like if you speak one, you can figure out the others. It's like its own Nordic thing. I was like, good for you, my man. Like, look at you.
Yeah.
I love.
It has nothing to do with the plot. I just thought it was fun.
Yeah.
That whole beginning scene with John and Battlestar, and I think it's the strength of the writing in terms of like not the dialogue per se, but just like the structure of the show is like it felt very procedural, like in like a Law and Order kind of whatever, Chicago PD or whatever, any of those cop shows where like John was doing it by the book in terms of procedure and all that. And especially the way, just like that little line when he talked to Battlestar, he's like, hey, can you translate for this? Like, I don't understand German. And it just those little things in that scene like really strengthened the show for me and the characters and this part of the world.
Can we talk about that commercial at the very beginning?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude! It felt like all
it felt like the COVID commercials. Yeah.
It was hyper realistic, and I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh.
I honestly was just waiting for them to say the phrase unprecedented times.
It's like I got okay, so I couldn't get it to load on my Roku, so I was watching it on my desktop, and it
Mhm.
started playing, and I was like, "Since when does Disney Plus run ads?" Because I like didn't process at first. In my brain, I just thought it was a COVID commercial,
Mhm.
Oh no.
and then it kept going, and I was like, oh no, this is a part of dope, awesome. This is hyper
But it would
realistic in a
totally
way I didn't want it
happen
to be.
Mhm.
in real life, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, they're and to go again on that, it's like they're really hammering the point of like they're so focused on people who were in the snap, who got caught in the snap, and then yeah, like coming back, like your job gets filled or that company's bankrupt, and like what the hell do you do? Like that, yeah. It's so that's what I love about just the MCU is like
Which
you're asking those
yeah,
questions, and normally you wouldn't give a shit. So it's
with
so cool. I love
yeah,
it.
kind of along that same line of like the blip. Like, I mean, just going kind of spoilers now. Like that scientist, like the reason he couldn't complete the work on the super soldier serum, he got blipped.
yeah.
Yeah.
I liked that Zemo was in like a Hannibal Lecter jail cell with a glass
Yeah.
wall. When I'm glad that we've decided he's Hannibal Lecter. And I don't remember who called it that he was going to try and use the code words,
Yeah.
but I literally wrote and was like, that was a much calmer response than I expected.
Hey, you
Yeah.
got to try it, man. It's
Yeah,
you're not gonna
yeah.
score if
I
you don't.
No, but not Bucky's response was weirdly calm, where he wasn't like shut up or like go attack me. He's just like, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like he just kind of stares, and I was like, good for you. See, therapy's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To quote Leslie Jones, go to therapy.
Go to therapy. If anybody
I just-
hasn't seen the Leslie Jones thread on the Snyder Cut, you need to watch it.
I highly recommend. She did all these little like 10-second videos reacting to the Snyder Cut, and they're fucking
Oh
hilarious.
gosh.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I also really liked when they, you first see Baron Zemo out of jail, and then Sam and Bucky are arguing, and then Zemo goes, "Can I say something?" And they both yell no, and he's just like kind of, you know what, fair, and he like
Yeah.
takes it,
Mhm.
and I'm
He's
like, he
reading the
knows his
room.
place.
Yeah, he's reading
Yeah.
the room.
Yeah.
He's
And I
like,
think that was like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say, it's like you're rich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously in the comics he's Baron Zemo,
Yeah.
as his name, and I
A literal
loved how
baron.
I loved how in this episode, in this show, in the MCU, they're like, yep, we're just boom, he's a Baron. Like they just say it, they just put it out there,
Mhm.
and then of course like a couple of those like digs too, where he's like, yeah, like our country got rocked, so obviously like nobody cares about
Yeah.
like my history and my family and all that.
I loved him saying, I before you ruined my country, I was royalty, because Baron is at the bottom of the list in German nobility. Like, it's literally the lowest title you can have. I was like, but man, you're not royalty. You just, somewhere in your family, someone did something that the emperor liked, that like the Kaiser was down with. You're not royalty.
Yeah. I liked when he said that like other countries just kind of cannibalized what was left of Sokovia, and I know that they've been saying that like there's something in here that they would have never been able to explore had it not been for the Fox merger. So I'm wondering if they're gonna hint at Latveria.
Yeah.
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's also they're in Madripoor. Like there were so many mutant Easter eggs in this episode, one of which I'm very bitter about.
So
But
Madripoor, yeah, I was reading about it, like is very big for X-Men, but like it's been featured with like a lot of non-X-Men heroes as well.
mhm. um really quick, that prison break. Is that how prison really is? You drop someone a note that says the guy across from you is going to kill you tonight, kill him first, and it ends. Because I feel like every action movie I watch, that's how prison breaks work, is they start a prison fight so that they can get them out in the chaos. And I'm just
That,
curious if
that
that's
breaks
real.
into a riot.
Yeah.
You
I'm
didn't
just
see.
like,
I think for editing and time, you didn't see Bucky hand like 20 dudes like the same note, and they were like, "What?" And just like,
like, I'm just curious, is
I mean,
that how prison actually
I mean, if you look at it, they all just joined in on that one fight. They just all want.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know too much about prison. Never been there. Maybe someday. I don't know. But like, if everybody has alliances, because that's like what they say, right? It's like you have your
It's
squad
just
join a
gangs
group.
in there, yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So if one guy goes down, those other guys are gonna get angry. Am I there?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I wrote 2 notes that I don't know what they mean now. No idea. Never mind.
All right. Well, that's one thought I just had from the episode. Is Sharon the power broker?
Yes, I think she is, dude. I think she is.
There was something suspicious about her at the end because, like, when they introduced her, I was like, "Oh fuck!" Then when she started talking to them in the art gallery, I was like, "Oh, like she's fucking like changed." I'm not saying for the better or the worse. Like, it's a very more in-depth character now, but I'm like, "Fuck!" Like she's seen some shit.
When
Also,
you've been on the run for 7 years, because they didn't say she got blipped, so she's been doing.
they
this
haven't
for...
confirmed that yet, or whether or not she was blipped. Yeah,
She doesn't have that art gallery if she was blipped.
Exactly.
That woman was not blipped and have access to the Vincent van Gogh self-portrait.
I loved Sam doing like the Google like image.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's true.
Yeah, Sam in this episode was great, man. The whole smiling tiger stuff, like,
oh god,
I loved it. Was that a picture of
that was just Anthony Mackie. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, or a stunt double or something. I was like, that looks exactly like him. Oh man, and then of course his sister blowing his spot. Rip.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you could have lied out of that and be like, I don't my real name. Like, are you kidding me?
Dog. If you're in a gang kind of meeting handoff thing, turn your phone off.
That was the beginning of my real.
Yeah, why is his phone not on silent? That's weird.
That was my
do not disturb, like.
And he just let it go instead of being like, "I'm very sorry. Let me turn that off." Like if he had just saved it quickly, but he's just like looking at it like fuck.
Awkward.
But this was my issue. Is like Sam is a military trained, like, intel guy.
Yeah.
He should know better, and that just felt like a lazy plot device.
Yep.
It felt like we need something to have this woman die. Selby, thank you. To have her like
or have them get found out.
Yeah. So we're gonna throw in this really weird thing that we probably wouldn't do in another movie, but we need someone. And Bucky doesn't have a fucking phone. Like Bucky doesn't have anyone who gives a fuck about him. Like,
Yeah. It seems like they're going by the rule of like one action scene per episode. At least I know this one had like a couple, but like I think they're just throwing in the action just to, keep, certain people engaged with the show.
I am so mad at Disney for making me watch that fucking snake scene.
Oh gosh.
Fuck that, my man. Like, wait, why did I have to watch you cut the snake open? Like,
yeah,
that was gross.
I haven't been to that part of the world, so I don't know if like that's like a common thing,
a delicacy kind of thing.
Yeah, like and my question too with that drink is like, especially because Sam is like impersonating someone else, it's like, do I drink like the venom glands or whatever that they put in that, or do I just drink the actual liquor?
Do I just drink the liquor and I keep that in there? In the cup?
So I'm like, but then like if you don't drink the venom glands, like then they know, I'm like, oh my god, I would not do well in that scenario.
Gross. And I know drinking snake venom in liquor is like a thing, but like there's a way to, this is gonna sound fucking gross, but there's a way to milk snakes that doesn't involve cutting them open and making me watch.
You just like
I was on the phone for you when that scene came up, and I really thought you were vomiting.
Okay, so I do have a really bad gag reflex, and just like everything makes me feel gross. People having to drink shit like that, like really freak. Like when YouTubers do like the truth or drink, and it's like those nasty like kind of shit that like I can't watch it. Ugh.
The
Ugh.
Filthy Frank hair cake video almost made me throw up before.
Oh, that just sounds gross.
Yeah,
Oof.
sorry.
You're good. Whew, okay.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So with Zemo, right? He had a ton of opportunities to escape in this episode
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the shootout in Madripoor, like at the bar and stuff, and even the fight at like the dock. Like I know he like his whole code is like he doesn't like super powered people and things and whatnot, but if I was in that spot, I could and he knows he can get it done because he fucked up the Avengers in Civil War, but like I think he's sticking around for another something else too to get back at Bucky or something. He wants to fuck them up more.
I
I
just
Go ahead.
love him. I just love him. Because he's right. They don't, especially on the plane, they don't like what he's saying, but he's not incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had a love-hate relationship with that plane scene too, because like I don't love the white character explaining the plight of the American black man. I feel like that was a weird choice to give Zemo those lines.
They
But then that's the thing is
called
Sam
it
goes,
out.
he's out of line, but he's right. Like I think they're just trying to show that like he's read. He's well read.
Yeah, I mean, he's reading a fucking book about Da Vinci and Machiavelli trying to
Dude,
turn Florence into a seaport. Yeah.
That's what I
they were
mean.
to go
Boring
along
ass
with
book.
like they're not being careful enough with Zemo. They were like just talking, free flowing, and they kind of cut to him a little bit where he's like reading, but he's still like looking out the side
Paying
of his eye,
attention.
paying attention. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
like Sam. It looked like Sam was about to take a nap on the plane. It's like, dude, no, you guys got to take shifts of like watching him.
I would
Ah,
also like to say Zemo understands the importance of protective headgear. He puts on a mask that has a shield for his face. Why
that
does
look
no one else wear fucking
Yeah.
helmets?
that looks just like a that just looked like a ski mask though.
It had
It
structure
had
in the
like
front. There's
padding.
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
in it in the front to protect his face.
That's not gonna stop
Um,
a bullet though.
but it's something if he falls on his head or gets hit in the head, like it's something. I'm just saying, wear protective headgear. Like, come
When
on.
there's explosions around you.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
I'm just saying, like, wear something on your dome.
Okay, has anybody played Gears of War?
Not
Anybody?
a lot, but I
No,
mean,
but
it's
I think I know what you're gonna reference.
Yeah, so like in the first Gears of War game, like the guy who wears his helmet all the time gets sniped and he still goes down like a punk. And so like I just think of that. I'm like, that's why you don't wear a helmet. You can't see as well. Stormtroopers in Star Wars, you can't see as well. And
I just remember
most of the time
years ago.
bullets don't
Yeah.
stop those kind of things anyways.
I just remember years ago seeing a Gears of War meme where it's like making fun of how he's covered in like this thick armor, but then he's just nothing on his head.
Yeah.
But I definitely think Zemo's going to backstab them, but I think for now he's taking it slow because I think he's playing the long con. I think it would have been dumb for them to recruit him, trust him, and get betrayed by him all in the same episode.
Yeah.
And I still would have to see what his actual long con is, but right now it's like we know he doesn't like superpowered people, and at the end of Civil War, he was ready to kill
Kill
himself
himself,
because his
yeah.
job was done.
Yeah.
Now Bucky's like, hey, that whole thing you did, there's more of them now. And it's like, okay, so he's back in it. When those 20 are gone, or the 20 vials are gone, is he now going to like try to kill Bucky as his last thing? Because Bucky still has the serum in him.
So to talk about the serum, right? So there was 20 vials, and I think
8
the
of them.
Flag Smashers used 8.
Yep.
Mhm.
That mean
There's
there's 12 left. Because
And they want to go ahead.
because when they killed that scientist guy and
Nagel.
burned the lab, I was because to go with the whole John Walker thing, like I think he is gonna take the serum because he's gonna like mess up and not
think
get
he
the
needs
job
it or
done.
something.
Right. And so I'm wondering how he's going to get it now that it's that much harder to get. And just that whole plot of like, yeah.
I also am concerned that Carly's plan is to give it to children. Like, that has me
Mm.
concerned.
I think she wants to use it as like oh, if you're about to die, this is gonna save you from everything.
Yeah, so she had like a
But
person or a family member or somebody she cared about that had tuberculosis. Why
No, I
didn't she
know.
give the serum to that lady? Or maybe she did and it
she
didn't
want
matter.
I think she wanted to, but she never did.
Yeah.
That's the way
And,
I took
like,
it too.
also, I greatly on my list of favorite characters, the long-haired Asian man who, realized Carly's batshit crazy at the end of this episode. I
Yeah.
also
This was her first bad guy thing
Oh yeah.
that she did
Yeah.
in this.
That's
Like
the
there are
thing.
people still in there. Yeah.
I was like,
In- In the episode where you see her in that one camp in Latvia, I was like, okay, so now they're humanizing her and not John Walker. Maybe we're gonna have a switch where she's no longer the big bad and John Walker is. And then she blew up a building. I was like, okay, nope.
I
And
think they're all gonna be bad.
yeah, and I also wonder, like, we know this guy claims he was able to recreate the serum perfectly, as well as even optimize it, so you don't get like this huge bulking body. You just become strong naturally. But do we actually know that there isn't side effects that like they don't fuck with your brain or make you psychotic, or just the thing that the original scientist said, Stanley Tucci, I always forget his last name.
first guy.
Erskine, yeah. I almost said Erickson. I was like, that's
Mhm.
not it. How he's
No.
just like, it's gonna amplify what's ever inside of you. So it's like she
Yeah.
has like this slight little like rebel
She's been
fire inside of
radicalized.
her, and now
Yeah.
she's just like full blown gonna blow a place up.
But that's my issue with giving it to kids, is even if she's giving it to them to save them, it's going to radicalize them.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you that that would be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I ended this episode with all the shit with Sharon Carter and Nagel. Like, not what I was expecting for Dr. Nagel.
Yeah.
When we got to him, I was like, ooh, I don't love you. The actor, you kind of feel like you're trying to mimic Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor
Yeah.
with
I
the
got
way
that
you're
vibe, too.
talking.
I got
He
that
wanted
vibe,
to be
too.
one of those like bumbling scientists, but like is still very smart type thing.
Like, it literally looked like somebody watched Batman v Superman and went, "That's what I'm gonna do. That's the
Yep.
acting that I'm gonna copy. I'm gonna copy that vocal inflection." Like, I was like, "Ugh.
Hey,
I don't
Jesse's a
like
great
this."
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the arrogant nerd that Hollywood's been putting out there the past few years.
Yeah. Sharon Carter is the most intelligent person in the MCU. I'm throwing that out there. Like,
I'm a
the
little
most
suspicious of her.
that
Towards
doesn't
the
make
end.
her. She can
Yeah.
be wrong and still be the most intelligent person in the MCU. Those two things can be exclusive.
True, but
More
like, I was-
intelligent than Banner.
Street intelligent. Maybe not
Oh,
book
okay.
intelligent,
Street
but like
I get
smarts.
what you're saying. Yeah.
common sense street intelligent, I feel like is Sharon, and it's fucked what Cap did. The fact that they just abandoned her after Civil War and were like, "Oh, you can't come back to the country. Sorry, bye." Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you mean? Like,
Well, they were-
so that's what I'm a little bit confused about. Where it's like, okay,
fuck
so
you, Cap. Like,
no, but okay, so it's like Sam, Cap, and Nat on the run for 2 years. They come back during the events of Infinity War. Okay, now the blip happens. At no point do they like try to go, hey, where is she? Or it's like,
No,
who
that's
gave-
what she said though, is that they did it.
Yeah, and then
They at
who?
no point said anything.
Yeah,
That
and I'm
feels
also
out of
wondering
character though. for
who
that.
gave Bucky the pardon, because by the time Bucky and Endgame is over, Cap's not there anymore.
I mean, it would have to be the UN or like
Yeah.
the
I
world
just mean like
equivalent of it.
I just mean more like a spokesperson for the Avengers had to like convince them to do it.
It's also probably realistically the Avengers that were left were like, "Hey, he was
Framed, yeah.
Instrumental.
framed and instrumental to this project, to us bringing
Mhm.
everyone back and doing everything we've been doing." Pardon him in the same way they would with Falcon and Cap. And clearly something happened with Cap in the 5 years because he went from being a war criminal to like a group therapist and working within Avengers and back on American land. But yeah, basically what she's saying is she risked everything for them. And Cap was just like, "Fuck you, bye." Like,
that was my favorite line because they did it with the synchronized cut. She goes, I stole the wings for your ass to save his ass from his ass. That was my favorite line.
That was a great line. Oh
That was
my
good. Yeah.
And
I
not for nothing, I'd be pissed off. Like,
Oh
I'd
yeah.
be
Yeah,
mad.
no.
I can't. I refuse to believe that they just would not have reached out at all. Like that just seems so
I
antithetical
believed it
to
at
who Cap
first.
is. Because when Cap and Tony have the whole tiff in Civil War, he writes him a letter and leaves him a phone saying, "Hey, if you really need help, I'm still here." I
Yeah, but
refuse. Like and Cap smooched Sharon, right? So that's even a deeper level than whatever Tony and Cap shared.
I don't know. I don't. The MCU has made me just not like Captain America. Like, I just
You're hurting
don't.
my soul. That hurts my soul.
I
I don't know. After Civil War, I was like, fuck this guy. Like, you don't give a shit about anybody but you and your friends. And so I don't care. Like, Civil War kind of killed him as a character for me. Um, it just, I can't, he refuses to see anything from anybody else's point of view, and that bothers me. And Sharon Carter put everything on the line for him.
yeah. The fact that the last scene where like something was a little bit suspicious and like she refused the fact that she might get pardoned at first makes me think that I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out the story she told was fake, not because of my faith necessarily in Cap and how dare they do that, but just more like the way they've painted her towards the end, where I'm like, okay, now I don't know how much to trust you.
See, I think the reason she refused the pardon is what fucking power does Sam have? Sam can't get a loan from a bank. What
Those
the
aren't
fuck
related.
power do you
Those aren't
have?
related.
You are gonna look at me right now and tell me that if any other high walked into a bank and was like, I need money to save my family business and made a little sob story that the bank would not roll over and give them money.
No,
I think
because
Sam
I
does
think
not
he
have
has
that kind of
pull.
power.
He
I,
has pull with people in the military that can go up to the president. He doesn't necessarily have pull with a bank.
But what pull does he have? If you have that kind of pull to get a pardon, you have pull to get a loan. I wouldn't
Not if
trust
the
him
bank is just
either.
looking at your
so
statements.
so two things. So I would headcanon that they said that they've had a relationship with that bank for a long time. So it might be like a local bank maybe, and it's not like a Chase or something where it's like national.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
two, the whole Sharon thing, I want to go back to that real quick. I think you do have to respect the agency that she made that choice and she had to live with whatever came after that. Like she chose to help and like you know what I
But
mean?
but Sam chose to help too, and Cap made sure he got a pardon. Or like
W-
whoever made sure that he got a pardon.
Yeah, so
And like
we don't know
that's
who did that though.
my big issue with it is even if it's a local bank, if you have connections in the military to get to the president or UN or whoever is handing out these pardons, even if it's a local bank, you can still phone in those favors. I don't think Falcon has the pull. And if I was Sharon Carter and got abandoned by the people I risked my life for and ruined my career for, and they show up 7 years later and are like, you got to help us, we'll make sure you get a pardon, I would not let myself for a second believe that they would deliver on that. Because why would I give myself that false hope? I've spent 7 years accepting the fact that I'll never see my family again and that my family doesn't know where I am. I'm not going to pretend for a second that that's not the situation I'm stuck in because that way, when I'm still in that situation, I'm not, crushed.
Yeah.
It's like to a certain extent, I feel like she's very hard now because she got fucked. Like, she got fucked
100%.
over. And like, that sucks. And she's now made a life for herself somewhere else. Like, they could have taken her to Wakanda. They could have figured all
Yeah.
of that out right after it happened
Mhm.
and didn't.
Taking her to
Like
Wakanda when.
after when Bucky goes. In Civil War. He goes to Wakanda, does he not? I'm not
Yeah,
wrong,
no,
right?
no, no.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
you meant in that point in time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They could have taken her to Wakanda or had her. I mean, we don't know what
You
Black
could
Widow was doing yet because
I mean
Yeah.
we
you could argue too, like once after that 2 year gap between Civil War and Infinity War, like you can't like use like Facebook and Twitter and stuff. So it might have been hard to contact her after she ran and
So
went
those
to
are the 2 years I
her own
get.
spot.
Those are like the 2 years I understand because like Cap and Sam themselves were laying low and running around. So like whether or not they found her, they're still all collectively screwed. It's like post blip where it's like suspicious.
Well,
I just
Well, and I would argue that too. That after the blip, she's already the power broker or whatever. She's got her own thing running, and she almost didn't want the pardon a little bit too because she has like a sweet setup a little bit, honestly, in Magic
Right.
War. So
I also just feel like she might not want the pardon because, why would she want to go back? Like, I get
right,
it.
exactly.
Why
She
would
has a
you
sweet
want to go
setup.
back at that point? Like, well, it's also that like you were doing what at the time you thought was right, and like your country, America's doing some weird shit with this John Walker crap and like everything we've learned about.
Heroic, you mean?
I like how she was like, "Oh yeah, how do you like him?" And Bucky's like, "Don't talk about it."
Don't talk to me about it. I loved her line when she was like, "Don't give me that shit. You were all into the stars and stripes cap like shit too." I just liked having somebody that like called them on their
Yeah,
bullshit. Like, I feel like we don't get that a lot, and I liked Sharon Carter
yeah.
being like, "No."
I feel like we haven't touched on like the actual era Bucky's from and like what that might mean.
Mm-hmm. She
We've
likes
just been like, oh,
40s.
he's
Which
had the Winter
that's
Soldier as background.
well.
Also, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, kind of like that whole Bucky's era. It's like they did touch on that in the airplane, like that
Yeah.
whole Marvin Gaye
Deitizing
scene.
people, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, I
And
like 40s music.
which I was confused if he was saying that Marvin Gaye's music was like 40s music or saying that he didn't
No,
like. I was very
he
confused
didn't
by
like
what he
Marvin
was saying.
Gaye because
Said
Like,
he likes 40s music.
he basically said he's
Okay.
like, I liked it, but like it's not for me, is what he was trying
Yeah.
to say.
Yep.
That's what I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell if he was trying to be nice and didn't want to say garbage or if he was comparing the two. Like, I just got very confused by what he was
No,
implying.
basically, I think he's just like, I haven't listened to anything past the time that, you know, I was brainwashed and I
Yeah.
should have died.
Also, they are really leaning into like these Operation Paperclip parallels, and I am fascinated by it. Especially because this is a universe we know Operation happened because they say it in Winter Soldier. That yeah, I think it's interesting that that Nagel was like, yeah, it's the CIA recruited me.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
the American government knew exactly what they were doing with Isaiah and everything else. Like, and they
Yeah.
knew what I had done and pulled me in. I was
Yeah.
just like, well,
Yep.
fuck, my man. Okay, like we're really leaning into this.
Yeah, the parallels obviously with real world history, but also like events of the Incredible Hulk,
Mhm.
Isaiah. Like, yeah, it totally makes sense that America would continue to, and even in the first Avenger, like as soon as Cap comes out of the little tube thing, like
Mhm.
their whole thing is like, okay, you're not going anywhere. We're gonna try to run tests on you and make more of this because you're like the only thing left of this like program.
Yeah. Which I'm sorry, I haven't watched Hulk in forever. Like
Yeah.
probably
I just
like
watched it last week.
Oh,
okay.
so it's fresh in
So
your mind.
Banner is trying to replicate the serum, right?
Yeah.
That's what
When the
General
accident
Ross
happens?
wants.
Okay.
Banner doesn't think he's creating a serum. He's just doing gamma research. But
Okay.
General Ross knows he's basically feeding them the info to get to the super soldier serum.
Okay. That wasn't connected to Hydra, was it? To our knowledge,
No.
anyway?
No,
To our
that was
knowledge,
just
no.
that was
And
just
I
General
read,
Ross doing his own thing.
yeah, and then I
Okay.
read like an Easter egg today that that scientist last name is like
Nagel.
on
Nagel.
yeah,
Yeah,
Nagel
it's
is
on
like
the vial
on one
thing.
of the vials that they give the dude who becomes Abomination.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
A
just
really
wasn't sure about
jacked
that 'cause, like,
60-year-old.
yeah. I just wasn't sure because I haven't watched that movie in
Mhm.
literally 10 years.
Not as bad as people think. It's still not the best MCU movie, but it's not bad.
I just don't
Yeah.
like Ed Norton as Bruce Banner. I love Mark Ruffalo. It's kind of like
Yeah.
Moon Knight could be garbage and I will love it just because I love Oscar music. Like, that's really where
Yeah, no, LeighErin literally texted me today. I'm gonna find it just because I want the whole quote. She goes, Jordan, once Moon Knight comes out, I need you to know that if I'm not on the Waypoint Media Club reviewing it, crime because every week I just want to talk about how much I love Oscar Isaac.
I love Oscar Isaac so
You
much.
should be on it just for that alone. That connection right there.
I love him. I love him so much. That man can do no wrong in my eyes.
So one thing
I like The Last Jedi because of Oscar Isaac. Like, let's be honest for 30 seconds.
So
She has watched a lot of bad movies just to see Oscar Isaac's face.
Yes, I have.
So
The
one
most
thing I
violent
do
year
wanna-
was 20 years long. Anyways.
I was just gonna say, I'm surprised we've went 40 minutes into this podcast and not mentioned Wakanda and the drop at the end.
Yeah, dude. I can't
I did
remember
not
that.
see that coming at all.
Neither did I. I didn't
I
even
didn't-
consider that. Like, I know they
know-
said, like, I know Falcon was
The
like, oh,
White
remember
Wolf
he
and all
killed
that?
T'Chaka. Yeah, but I didn't even consider the fact that, like, Wakanda would want him.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, they would.
that never came across my mind until like the beads and
Now-
everything.
Yeah.
Like,
And now that I was thinking about it, I was like, I wonder how much they will they'll mention T'Challa, if at all. Would he have made an appearance originally?
that was my initial thought when I first saw them. It's like, is he gonna like appear like with a hologram thing or whatever?
Yeah.
I think, I totally forgot those little like beads were like the Wakanda stuff. So I was like, wait, what is going on?
The Kimoyo beads or
I
Yeah.
think that's what
Yeah.
they call them.
Moya beads? Yeah.
And maybe I need to watch it again, but I don't know how Bucky saw. Like, I don't know if they showed on screen a Kimoyo bead or like hinted at it before Bucky was like, "I need to take a walk." Because I was
No.
like,
I
why is
think
taking
he
a
saw it
walk?
on the ground. Yeah, that's what made him.
Yeah.
Also, once he picked it up, you started hearing like its
The
beeps,
beeps,
and I'm
yeah.
wondering if like the idea is like he heard it either because he knows it or super hearing. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Or if it
And-
was planned
A little bit of both.
and like, yeah.
no,
and
it
obviously
definitely was not both. I think
It wouldn't
it was
shock
not
me
planned.
that Bucky has like, some sort of connection or like, T'Challa's or whoever's like, phone number, whatever. Like he would have some sort of ongoing relationship with Wakanda and people from there.
Yeah.
And it totally makes sense. I was like, just from what we know from Civil War and Black Panther, is that like they respected the process of Zemo going to jail and all that, but now that he's out, they want justice. They
Yeah.
want him. I would not doubt that they want to bring him back and punish him the way they think he deserves. Which
I just anything the Doromaji do, I'm like, okay, all right,
Mhm.
you have your reasons.
yeah,
Whatever you want, do it.
their
I'm
outfits are
into it.
so freaking cool, man. I
Oh,
love
I
everything.
know.
I love the whole costume design.
Do we think we go to Wakanda at some point in this series?
So what? We're halfway through the show.
We're now halfway through the show.
So I still think there's time for like maybe a third of an episode or something in Wakanda. And if they don't do that, I do think they'll do like a post-credit tease or something, because after this show's over, right? I don't know if there's any movies that are like set in the Captain America part of the universe. You know what I mean? Like there's
Like,
not
yeah,
a,
and like
closest
Captain
thing-
America, that'll hit on Captain America lore.
right.
Closest
There's
thing
not
would
a,
be Black
Um,
Widow.
Yeah, because Black Widow
Yeah.
takes place during the 2 years that they were on the run.
And then you
And
have
I
Red
mean-
Guardian, which is like supposed to be the Soviet Union's version.
yeah.
And I think that it's implied that never mind. Never mind. I was about to say something wrong.
So what I was gonna say is, I think they could, especially because of what happened with Chadwick Boseman, they could merge the Captain America kind of universe with the Wakanda universe parts of the franchise, especially with that show that's
Mhm.
coming out with the Wakanda TV show. And they
Mhm.
could definitely tap into more of maybe not Sam as much, just because he doesn't have as much of a relationship with Wakanda, but definitely Bucky.
Yeah, and I mean, we're only about a year out from the second Black Panther.
I think that's gonna get delayed, especially with all the other movies getting delayed and COVID.
As of now, its new date with Shang-Chi getting pushed and all that it's still set for July 2022.
I don't
Oh.
think that
So
happens.
'Cause when they just pushed Black Widow, they pushed Shang-Chi not to Eternal spot. They pushed it to September, so everything else stayed the same in the most recent
yeah.
push.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Um
the TV show is before the second movie's coming out?
no, it's after.
He hasn't even started
Really?
writing it, or I
Yeah,
think.
they just ordered it. They haven't even started they're in like early pre-production of hiring writers and stuff. So it's going to be probably not till 2023 that we get the Wakanda show. Because it's also this year,
Yeah.
2021 is all the Disney Plus shows with the couple releasing next year, but 2022 from Investors Day, they were saying is supposed to be a big Star Wars television show year. And that's when we're
Mm,
going to see a lot of Bad Batch is obviously releasing this year, but like
yeah.
Mandalorian will be
And
releasing
Book
in
of Boba
2022.
Fett, yeah.
Yeah. Um yeah, but they have a lot of stuff for Star Wars coming to Disney Plus in 2022.
Stay tuned for
Coulda had
those.
a Bad Batch, non-committal.
Yeah. Oh, they started filming Black Panther.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah, I just looked it up. They're all set to start filming in May
Ryan
in
Coogler on
Atlanta.
set. Like, if any one of you motherfuckers make me have to rewrite this script again,
If any of you
give me
like
your phones. Give me no tweeting.
nothing, you are allowed nothing. This poor man. No. Oh God, this poor
Yeah.
man.
I also find the decision to use Ayo and not Okoye as the Dora Milaje who came as interesting. Because we've seen her before. She's like the second in command. She's the one that threatens to remove Natasha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Move
like
or you'll
it took me a
be
second to realize who she was.
I think it makes sense sending your second and not sending the leader of the Dora Milaje just in case something happens.
Yeah.
That like they don't lose their leader on non-Wakandan soil.
Yeah.
And
It also
I
might be
mean,
that they're okay with. We actually don't know what their mission is. Are they going to try to send him to Wakanda? Are they trying to put him back in jail? Are they trying to kill him? Him being Zemo for all this.
mhm.
right.
Maybe they're okay with their plan not going the way they want if there seems to be a reason behind it.
Mhm.
You know?
And
Yeah.
there's also the real world implications of like they, budget wise, like they don't want to bring in
Yeah, of course.
Deny um Gunyari.
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
that's how you say her
like
last name.
they didn't want to shell out the big bucks for her, so
Yeah.
they got the
Yeah.
AO lady. So
And I mean, she does 8,000 things and is
Mhm.
just a fantastic human
Yeah.
being, and I'm obsessed with her.
They were like,
Um,
who's the most famous but most cheap Wakandan we can get?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it had to be somebody we recognize. Wow.
Yeah.
You know. Um, I want to see the Dora Milaje just do everything always, all the time. Like anything, if that Wakanda show is about the Dora Milaje, like I want to see them everywhere. I cannot wait for Disney to reopen and me to get to watch them do their little stage show.
Mm.
I love the Dora Milaje, and I think bringing them in is such a good choice from a story point of view.
Yeah.
Because kind of not for nothing, T'Chaka died, and it was kind of just like in
Well,
the grand, not to T'Challa and Wakanda, it was huge, but like to the MCU in the grand scheme of things, they were like, well,
Mhm.
shit happens.
I think I
Like,
think
wipe
I
your
think
tears.
well, I was doing some research on the TV show,
mhm,
and someone made a comment about like what does a Black Panther TV show look like, especially if they go in the past
mhm,
and they go maybe into T'Chaka's history, and someone listed like a bunch of like tragedies that particularly happened to like the 1994 Rwandan genocide, and like T'Chaka didn't do anything about that. So like
yeah.
he's a super complicated character, so maybe they could do some sort of prequel thing, and they didn't have time in the movies to flesh out T'Chaka.
I'm with you bringing that up. This has nothing to do with Falcon and Winter Soldier. It just kind of has to do with Wakanda. Is it confirmed that when Magneto enters the MCU, it's going to be somebody from the Rwandan genocide,
No, that was
or was
rumored.
that something that was just okay? That was something
That
that
was
was
the
popping
rumor,
around.
yeah. Because the rumors were it
Okay,
was gonna be Armenian or Rwandan, or maybe they will keep making him a Holocaust survivor.
okay. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, the Holocaust thing, that would not really make much sense.
Yeah, the age-wise, that would be rough.
Yeah, like they could only be like, well, the power makes him age slower for so long before it's like,
Yeah.
guys, like
Yeah.
we're getting to the point in time where it's no longer going to be realistic.
Yeah.
And there are enough other genocides that you can just pick a different one.
Mhm.
But speaking of the X-Men, though, I am mad at Disney for putting the princess bar in this show and then not giving. You can't do that to me, all right? Like
You cut
you
out
can't.
there for a second.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
you went out.
You can't put the princess bar in this show and not give me Wolverine. That's just mean. That is not okay. It is mean to me.
I mean, we didn't see the whole bar. He could have been upstairs. Could have been in the bathroom.
Well, they don't go into the princess bar. They go into the
No, yeah.
bear one
Uh,
or monkey
yeah.
one. I don't know. Those bars scared me. I was like, these are the
Yeah.
bars that are too much for me. Like the
Yep.
clubs that I'm like.
Yep.
Also, someone pointed out that there was someone in the background that when Bucky was beating up all those people, pretending to be under mind control,
He was on
that
his
somebody was
phone.
filming on their phone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, if
The
that gets
therapist
out,
is gonna see that. I
Yeah.
had that thought
I mean,
when I saw that.
everyone on Earth might see that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, okay, yes, but I was just thinking
The don't
Oh,
hurt
like,
anyone. I was
in-
more thinking of like, oh, did he just break conditions of his pardon? Are they gonna, is this gonna leak
Mhm.
something?
right.
Yikes.
They're gonna see, and if they see Zemo there as well,
Yeah. I mean,
Oh
right
yeah,
next
that's
to him.
gonna.
Yeah, that could fuck them up a lot.
yeah.
I'm sure they clearly had a reason for showing that person filming it, so there's got to
Yeah.
be something that's coming in the next few episodes.
Mm.
I also really liked how the bounty was in Bitcoin.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't
Because like it's
notice
all
that.
it's all an entire underground illegal city. Like everything's gonna be shady.
Wait, so this episode was written? It was directed by the John Wick guy, right?
No,
or was
written.
it
Written.
both? I thought okay,
It was directed by Kari
The
Scully.
director is like the same for all episodes.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's so funny that the John Wick influences in this episode is like exactly like in freaking every John Wick movie where like somebody puts out a hit and everybody checks their phone
Yeah.
and they're like, I'm clicking yes. It's like oh my, that's so John Wick.
Well,
Oh my
that
gosh.
and then
Yeah.
like just the way they're holding their guns, like in real real big stance and
Mhm.
everything, and
Yeah.
the knife fights and
Yeah.
dude.
The fighting in it, I was into. Like, I really liked
Mhm.
the way the fighting in the MCU used to be real rough, and like they've gotten so much better as time has gone on, where there's less jump cuts.
Oh yeah, no,
Um,
like you just straight up saw Sharon Carter in like one take down like multiple people.
They did a
Yeah.
lot of one take shots, which I personally like for action. I feel like it helps you know where everybody is, who's doing what, and it eliminates that standing around like the bad guy is standing waiting for you to be done with the one you're currently fighting
Yeah.
with to attack you.
Yeah.
Where when you do the one take, it just comes off more like you're coming across these people, not
Mhm.
they're all just standing
Yeah.
waiting.
I
Yeah.
really liked when she saw the one guy coming, went around, was just waiting for him to turn the corner and shot him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very John Wick-esque.
Yeah.
That's what I do in Uncharted sometimes, where I'm just like, all right, just wait.
Yeah, that's totally a
Oh,
video
yeah.
game thing too. Like you just
Yeah.
hold
Wait
the
for them to
corner.
come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just totally lost what I was gonna say.
No, you're good.
Gone.
I have one more thing to touch on, but like, do we have anything major to touch on?
I was just gonna say, like, or just kind of going back to the whole, like, guy filming the Winter Soldier fight. It's
Yeah.
like, this is being a 6-episode series. Everything has to mean something.
Yeah.
Every shot, like, every little detail. So, clearly that's gonna have some repercussions down the road.
Check off cell phone.
And I love to going back to that scene of when Zemo's like or was it Zemo or Sam that was like it's still there like that
Zemo said that. He's
Zemo
like
said
you're-
something's. he said something's still in you, but it's deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like towards the beginning, and Sam's just like, "You good after?"
Yeah, he's like, "Whoa, hey, are you good, dog?" Like,
I think those are two separate scenes. I think like when they're in the cells, Zemo goes, "There is something deeper in those eyes," and then after the fight, Sam's like, "Are you good?"
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Should I be concerned?
I honestly think that Bucky
Fair
just needed to
question.
take out his rage
yeah.
somewhere, and he was like, "If I'm allowed to, I'm gonna."
Yeah.
I mean, and also like Zemo tickled his chin at one
That
point,
was
which was
so
weird.
Yeah.
The
I
woman
liked
purring at
He was
Sam was
enjoying.
weird.
He was enjoying being in control there, since he
Let me just-
he knew it.
It was just
he,
like he'll
knew
do
that
anything.
character.
And he pinches his cheek and tickles his chin at the same
Tickled
time.
his chin, and it's like I was like, ugh, don't do that.
How many takes do you think there are that when he did that, Sebastian Stan's just giggling?
So many, because it's so
The
hard to
gag
stay
reel,
stoic when
yeah.
somebody's holding your face.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be great
Like-
to see the gag reel on that.
I would love to see the gag reel on this show, period, because all the scenes where they're like yelling at each other, I'm like, how many times like lose just can't.
Like the whole staring contest.
Yeah.
Be great.
And then when they
Good
started,
on them.
yeah, when they all ran out of bullets in their guns, which by the way almost never happens. So I'm happy that they're like, yeah, guns have limited.
To everybody, they were like,
Yeah.
Yeah, have it to all of them at the same time because they just went in blazing. I like how they just start
Yeah.
fighting, and Sharon's like, "Can you not?"
Yeah. Not the time.
Not
another
the time.
another John Wick connection too, because in pretty much every movie he has some sort of encounter where he runs out of bullets and has to improvise a fight.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Super
Is
great.
it a John Wick movie or a different action movie where somebody runs out of bullets and throws the gun at someone?
That's John Wick. Yeah.
That is
That's
John
it.
Wick where he whips the gun at the guys?
I've
Yeah.
seen that. I've never seen the movies, but I've seen that clip. That's not actually him though. It's like a henchman, right?
That could be other movies too.
That's
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure-
I know it
I'm sure
has
it's been
happened in
one of
John
those.
Wick though.
One of those like action movies that my dad watches.
Mm-hmm.
The guy
Your
runs out
dad
of
watched
bullets.
John Wick.
My father loves John Wick, Jordan.
Who doesn't?
My father
Christ.
loves
Doesn't
him.
love John Wick.
Yeah,
Those
he
are such
doesn't
good
love John
movies.
No, but like
He doesn't love
her
John
dad
Wick.
is not like a broy dad. That's the
My
thing.
dad
No
is a
offense.
very
He's a
sweet
delight.
man that nobody would expect to like, and his favorite things are James. He loves James Bond.
That's
He
not
loves
violent.
John Wick. He loves westerns, and like
See,
those are his things.
2 out of 3 of those make sense. Like James Bond's just more sneaky and it's not like gratuitously violent. Whereas John Wick is like, oh geez.
He also loves. Which spy is it that John Krasinski plays him in the Amazon?
Oh, Jack Ryan.
Yes, he has read like all of those books and likes the show. Does not like the guy who wrote them and doesn't like how propaganda-y they get at
Tom
certain
Clancy.
points. Yeah,
Yeah, it's another
but-
Tom Clancy. Yeah.
yeah.
Ghost
But
Recon.
yeah, no, I've seen John Wick. My father likes weird movies. It's the same reason I'm Blade, because I love the original Blade trilogy. Like, you know, it's great. But I liked that they ran out of bullets and still, but at one point it was like, really, a bazooka? This man is shooting a bazooka? Where did he get this? Why is
One of
he
the shipping
shooting it?
containers.
Honestly, why doesn't more people have bazookas? In this kind of
Fair
context,
point.
you're fighting.
Fair
You're
point.
fighting the wind. It's like in the bar scene. It's like the 5th dude that tries to take out Bucky. It's like, come on, dude. Like, you know who this guy is. He just took out 4 of your friends.
Yeah.
And you're gonna try to take him out now. It's like, of course you're gonna bring a bazooka when you're trying to fight the Winter Soldier.
Normally,
Saying.
I'd be like, yeah, an RPG coming out of nowhere is excessive, but like this is an island where it's just like this is the entire, like, you know, the black market. This is the market. It's all here. You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
it's like Mos Eisley Cantina, like the wretched scum and villainy just on this one island. Someone's bound to have like an RPG guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
and I don't mean like a dungeon master.
Yes, I know. This is the last stupid thing that I'll bring into this conversation. When Nagel said, "Not my farm, not my pigs," I literally was like, I've heard "Not my circus, not my monkeys." I like this weird Ed Gein version of "Not my pig, not my farm."
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, you're a weird guy. Like, there
Mhm.
were a lot of moments in this where I was like, This is just weird. Like, this is a subculture I don't understand.
Yeah, going back to him too, when Zemo killed him, he didn't do it just to be violent. Like, you saw him walking around and grab something, so he got what he needed and was done with him, but the other three don't know that they got what they needed. And I'm really
Yeah.
interested into what it is that he
Mhm.
grabbed. Because, like, is it
Yeah,
is it a
was
contact? Is it a recipe? Is it,
Is it a recipe?
a formula, whatever you want to fucking call it?
I can't believe they let him free range there. I'm like, come on, dude. Oh my
I
God.
feel like
shot
they
him
should
right in
let
the face.
Zemo free range all the time.
And then he shot him, and they're still like, okay, we're still keeping you around. It's like, dude, he's a loose cannon, man. You gotta.
Yeah.
Him jumping off that shipping container, jumping down to fuck up those guys. I was like, I'm into this.
Yeah, and in the
Yeah.
prison too. Like he was.
And then when he opened it up and he just smiled, and then he shows up with a car and he goes, supercharged.
And he just rolls up. Yeah, he rolls up in this hot rod. And come on, like, let's go.
Get in, loser, we're killing super soldiers.
Truly, get in, loser. We're killing super soldiers.
I also saw one thing today that, like, the scene right before the art gallery when it was all of them, like Sharon, Sam, Bucky, Zemo, and it was all awkward. It was like, this is what happens when the one mutual friend isn't there, but the others are.
Yeah.
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 Oh man.
I also love that Zemo just like made himself at home. Was like, I'm lounge. Like, we're gonna go to this bar and or this party in the gallery.
I saw a GIF today of him dancing where he's going like this, and he looks awkward. He's in his turtleneck, and it was captioned, "This is the man who took down the Avengers."
Yeah. Like, I think that's why I like Zemo so much. It's like, you're insane.
I was like going in, I was like,
crazy.
oh god, I wonder where this is going. And then he started to speak, and I was like, I like you.
He's such an enigma because we know he's smart. We know he prepares for what he wants to get done. He's driven, and then we know in the MCU version, we know he has this family legacy of wealth and status to somewhat. But then he like, okay, so yeah, and then like that little cut of him dancing, him, which makes you wonder in Civil War when he takes Coach to fly to Siberia. It's like
Blend in.
Didn't he have a private plane? Like, whoa.
See, okay. I thought
One,
I
to
was being
blend in.
nitpicky.
Two, I don't know if this is the private plane he's always had, so maybe like a few of his got destroyed after Sokovia, you know?
That pilot knew him though, and was
Yeah.
like all
The
excited to see
pilot
him
knew
again.
him. The pilot knew him. That doesn't necessarily mean that that the plane was his for years ago.
I'm
Maybe he
just glad
rented it.
that
Maybe they rented it, you know.
I'm
Maybe
just
he
glad that that Brett brought this up because I literally wrote, I know that this is nitpicky, but how are they getting airspace travel approval for this?
That's true
It's
too.
Bucky and Sam and
And
somebody who broke out of prison. And now John Walker knows that Bucky and Sam were involved in prison, and I don't
Right.
necessarily think he's keeping that to himself. Like, how are you getting air travel approval? And like, who are you getting it from?
Might be posing as someone else. They might be talking to other countries that don't give a fuck. I mean, they are flying to that fucking island, so
Well, yeah, lawless kind of place.
I know you have to still get there. I get that.
Yeah,
but, like,
and like you still need takeoff approval, and like I just was curious about how they're doing that, like paying someone off. Dumb, but like I was curious.
yeah.
Big ups to John Walker deducing that they got him out. So
Yeah, I wanted to talk
smart
about
guy.
that, where at the very end, he's ready to just like he wants to find a reason to get other people to not like Sam and Bucky.
Yeah.
And then Battlestar, I can't say that seriously. So then Lamar was like, are you sure this is the way to do it? And he goes, if we get it done, they won't care about the how. Which is interesting because technically that's the same logic Bucky and Sam are riding on.
And Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and Steve, to be
Except
honest.
I'm only mad when he does it because you know that there's a ulterior motive that isn't as good behind it.
See, I'm mad when they all do it. Think things through. Just think.
Yeah.
I'm excited with that scene to see if it ends up being Lamar kind of becoming the voice of reason, and that John Walker might end up injecting himself with the super soldier serum because he feels backed into a corner because his like
Yeah.
Like, isn't he has no support from the people who know him?
I easily see Lamar switching sides and joining Sam and Bucky, or
Yeah.
at the very least, no longer being with John Walker.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I didn't think I would like, but I'm into. I
Yeah.
like the idea of that. That there's somebody who realizes that what they're doing isn't necessarily a good
like,
idea.
We saw right through John Walker from the beginning because, one, you could look up the name of the comics, you know what he is. Two, people don't want to see Captain America replaced. But to everyone else, just like, okay, so this is a thing that's happening. Sam and Bucky don't like him for the same reason the audience does it. But Lamar is now going to see the buildup from the regular soldier who got chosen to be the new Captain America to a complete douchebag / evil person. And I think that's what's going to make him flip. Because that's the other thing. It's like, he truly hasn't done anything yet to make us dislike him. He's just very dislikable.
Yeah, I have no reason to not like him. I just know.
He's got such a punchable face. God damn it.
I just don't trust him.
Yeah.
I don't trust him.
I learned today he's Kurt Russell's son.
Yeah, I mentioned that last episode. Did I not?
I think you did, yeah. But yeah, once.
Oh, you weren't on last episode.
I was gonna say that's why I stopped. Wasn't he not?
Yeah. Wow, right over.
I was.
We missed you.
Good to be back.
Yeah, I think that's why he's such a great actor, right? I mean, you've seen him in a bunch of other stuff too, and
It's kind of got that Homelander vibe a little bit.
yeah.
This show has given me The Boys vibe, and I'm into it. It's less graphic than The Boys, which I also, because I've made the mistake of watching a couple of times. But yeah, he's starting to give that like really off-putting Homelander vibe of like, I'm getting this done the way I think I need to get this done, no matter what the fuck any of the rest of you think. Like, I am Captain America. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, and I'm into it. Like,
I think basically what they're going to say in this show is basically they're going to be like, Steve was more of an anomaly or the exception rather than the rule. And like, just don't put anyone on a pedestal regardless, because most people will end up being more like John Walker.
Don't put anyone ever on a pedestal. Don't, even in the real world, don't put politicians on pedestals. Don't put cops on pedestals. Don't put anyone on pedestals. It always turns out badly, and you.
Unless someone needs to get atop a literal pedestal and needs a boost, you could put him up there.
Also, today is Marvin Gaye's birthday. I just saw that. So
I heard that. Yeah, that this
That's
episode
cool.
dropped on his birthday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's quite a coincidence, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Any final thoughts?
How many heroic things do we think we're going to see John Walker do next episode?
None.
I think we're either going to see zero, or he's going to have like a propaganda video of him doing like the most generic shit, like stopping a robbery or saving a kitten out of a tree.
Because we have 3 episodes left.
Does he get the super soldier serum?
Does he get the super soldier serum, and does he commit an act or does something that's so out of character of what Cap should do in either next episode or episode 5? You know?
Yeah.
It's coming.
I think he's going to take the serum, but I don't think he's going to do it like because he feels like he's backed into a corner. I think he's going to do it because he wants to.
Yeah.
I think he's going to think, oh, this will garner me the respect or the power that I need.
Do we think he catches Carly first then?
I think Carly is going to meet her end. Yeah. I think Carly's going to die at the hands. Like,
yeah.
I don't think they're going to get to her before he does.
Yeah.
Who do we think do we think the power broker is Sharon, or is it just, do you think Sharon's just doing a different suspicious thing?
I think it is, only because there's 3 episodes left and there's still a good amount of stuff to resolve. So if they would have to throw in the power broker next episode then.
But
at least 2 more episodes after that for that character to be fleshed out in whatever angle they have.
I have a question, because I might have heard something wrong. When Carly was talking to the other guy whose name with the long hair, whose name I just didn't catch, And she's talking about when they were given the serum. They were given it by the power broker, right?
I think they stole it
They
first
stole it
and
from
gave it to
the.
themselves.
Because they keep referring to the power broker as a he.
Did they?
Yeah, they keep
Okay.
saying he's going to come find us because we have the ends of like the last of it. They keep saying he.
Mm.
And they said before when they were attacked
Wait, were they
last
not
week.
talking about John Walker?
No, they're not talking about John Walker. They're talking about the power broker. The power broker wants the serum, and they have the last of it now that
I thought they said they
dead.
stole from the scientist.
Yeah, that they had taken it
Oh,
from
okay.
Nagel, but
Yeah.
Nagel was working for the power broker, and so now they keep
Yes.
saying he's going to come after us. And last week they kept saying his men are here. The power broker's men are here. It's his people. Like,
Yeah.
So, could I, to keep the Sharon Carter theory alive, could them being, obviously they're capable, but they're like what, in their teens, I imagine, in the show, or they're super young.
Young
they're
adults.
I would say like late teens, early 20s.
And they're not they don't have like a network of like information and contacts in terms of like people that have power and information. So maybe they thought that the Dr. Nagel, that he's in charge and that they stole it from him, so they think he's going to send people after them, and not knowing that there's someone above him who was running the show for Dr. Nagel.
Yeah, but Carly says the power broker is going to come right to us.
Yeah.
Like, didn't they say I get like a text from them or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, she's getting a text from someone else too. That unknown text from last week that's like, I'm coming for you, that could be the power broker, but I don't know.
I could see Sharon be working for him, or just know something that she didn't say, which is why something's very sketchy. And maybe she's not doing it for, maybe she's not doing it out of malice. Maybe she's backed into a corner where they're like, if you help them, we'll kill you. So she's just appearing as if she is. She could be in her own shit.
I just think that she got fucked and is mad. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to get myself out of overthinking because WandaVision made me be like, everything is a symbol.
Yeah, so what if Sharon's Mephisto?
God damn it!
Every episode. All right, guys. We will see you next week for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 4. Everyone's social media will be in the bio down below. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. We are out here. We're out of here. Boom.